Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're journeying back in time over 800 years ago to the vast wind-swept steppes of Mongolia. This is the stage for one of history's most epic tales, the story of a man who would change the world forever. His name was Genghis Khan, and this is the story of the Mongol Empire. Imagine the world in the late 12th century. The Mongolian plateau was home to numerous nomadic tribes, constantly at war with one another. Life was harsh, survival was a daily struggle, and unity was a distant dream. Into this chaotic world, a boy named Temüjin was born. His early life was anything but easy. His father was poisoned by a rival tribe when he was just a child, and his own clan abandoned his family, leaving them to fend for themselves in the wilderness. Young Temüjin faced starvation, betrayal, and capture. But these hardships didn't break him. They forged him. They instilled in him an iron will, a sharp mind, and a burning desire to end the cycle of violence that plagued his people. Temüjin was a natural leader. He was charismatic, strategic, and understood the value of loyalty. He began to build alliances one by one. He didn't just conquer his rivals, he assimilated them. He offered them a place in his growing confederation, a vision of a unified Mongol nation where strength came from unity, not division. He rewarded loyalty above all else, promoting people based on merit and skill rather than their family connections or noble birth. This was a revolutionary idea at the time, and it won him the fierce devotion of his followers. Through a combination of brilliant diplomacy and decisive military victories, Temüjin accomplished the impossible. He united all the nomadic tribes of the Mongolian steppes under a single banner. In the year 1206, a great assembly, or Kurultai, was called. The leaders of all the united tribes gathered, and they bestowed upon Temüjin a new title, one that would echo through the centuries, Genghis Khan, meaning the universal ruler. This wasn't just a new name. It was the birth of a new identity for the Mongol people and the official beginning of the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan was no longer just a tribal chief. He was the sovereign of a nation poised to make its mark on the world. He established a legal code known as the Yasa, which covered everything from property theft to military discipline, creating a stable and orderly society out of the previous chaos. Now, let's talk about the legendary Mongol army. When you think of the Mongols, you probably picture fierce warriors on horseback, and you're absolutely right. The Mongol military was one of the most effective fighting forces in history. Every Mongol man was a skilled horseman and archer from a young age. Their primary weapon was the composite bow, a powerful tool they could wield with deadly accuracy from the saddle. This gave them incredible mobility and firepower. They could shower their enemies with arrows from a distance, then charge in for the final blow or just as quickly feign a retreat, luring their opponents into a deadly trap. But it wasn't just about horsemanship. Genghis Khan was a military genius who organized his army with ruthless efficiency. He structured his forces using a decimal system, units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000 soldiers. This system allowed for precise command and control, rapid communication through messengers and signals, and incredible flexibility on the battlefield. They were masters of psychological warfare, often using their fearsome reputation to convince cities to surrender without a fight. They also excelled at siege warfare, adapting and learning new technologies from the peoples they conquered, like Chinese engineers who taught them how to build catapults and other siege engines. With this unstoppable army, Genghis Khan began a series of campaigns that would expand his empire at a breathtaking pace. He first turned his attention to the neighboring kingdoms in China. The conquest of the Western Xia and Jin dynasties was brutal and difficult, but it provided the Mongols with immense wealth, resources, and advanced technology. From there, they turned west, storming through Central Asia. The powerful Khwarezmian Empire, which had foolishly provoked the Khan's wrath by killing his envoys, was utterly destroyed. Mongol armies swept across modern-day Iran, Afghanistan, and into the Caucasus. Their speed was astonishing. Cities that had stood for centuries fell in a matter of weeks or days. By the time of Genghis Khan's death in 1227, he had laid the foundation for the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever seen. But the Mongol Empire wasn't just about conquest. What's often overlooked is the period of stability and peace that followed the initial invasions, known as the Pax Mongolica, or the Mongol Peace. Under Mongol rule, a vast territory stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe was unified under a single administration. Genghis Khan and his successors understood the importance of trade and communication. They revitalized and protected the legendary Silk Road, a network of trade routes connecting the East and the West. For the first time in centuries, merchants, diplomats, and missionaries could travel safely from China to Europe. This unprecedented level of connectivity sparked a massive exchange of goods, ideas, technologies, and cultures. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing from China made their way to Europe, where they would eventually transform society. In return, Western goods and knowledge flowed eastward. The Mongols established a highly efficient postal system called the Yam, a network of relay stations with fresh horses and supplies that allowed messages and officials to travel across the empire with incredible speed. This system was the logistical backbone of their vast domain, keeping the distant provinces connected to the central government. Another remarkable aspect of the Mongol Empire was its policy of religious tolerance. At a time when religious wars were common in other parts of the world, the Mongols generally allowed their subjects to practice their own faiths, whether they were Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. Genghis Khan himself believed in a single sky god, Tengri, but he was curious about other religions and often consulted with leaders from different faiths. This policy wasn't just about tolerance, it was a practical strategy. By not imposing a single religion, the Mongols avoided a major source of potential rebellion and were able to recruit talented people from all cultural and religious backgrounds to help administer their empire. After Genghis Khan's death, his sons and grandsons continued his legacy of expansion. His empire was divided into 4 major successor states, or khanates: the Yuan dynasty in China, ruled by his grandson Kublai Khan, the Golden Horde in Russia and Eastern Europe, the Ilkhanate in Persia, and the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia. Kublai Khan, who famously hosted the Venetian traveler Marco Polo, established his capital in modern-day Beijing and ruled over a prosperous and culturally vibrant China. At its peak, the Mongol Empire controlled a staggering portion of the globe, uniting diverse civilizations under its rule and creating a truly interconnected world. So what is the ultimate legacy of Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire? It's complex. On one hand, the Mongol conquests were incredibly destructive, resulting in immense loss of life and the fall of great civilizations. Their reputation as ruthless conquerors is certainly earned, but on the other hand, they were also empire builders who brought about a century of peace, fostered unprecedented trade and cultural exchange, and connected the world in ways it had never been before. They created a global network that laid the groundwork for the modern era. Genghis Khan himself remains a monumental figure in history, a brilliant and often brutal leader who rose from nothing to forge a nation and build an empire that reshaped the map of the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the Mongol Empire. It's a story of incredible ambition, strategy, and impact. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into history's most fascinating stories. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. We'll see you in the next one.